One of these MacBook Pros is M1 and one is M4, but can you tell the difference? So I've been using the M1 Max MacBook Pro for everything for the last 3 years. It's been a daily driver and I've had zero reason to upgrade. It's this one, by the way. It's great, but this year, Apple released this, the M4 MacBook Pro lineup. And this new M4 MacBook Pro is the first laptop that Apple have released that have seriously turned my head to consider upgrading from the M1. So, after a month of using this review unit, I want to tell you all about it. Should you upgrade? Is it for you? And is the M4 MacBook Pro the perfect moment to shift to a new laptop in 2025? Welcome or welcome back to Better Creating. So I have the Space Gray Pro chip model of the M4 MacBook Pro here, not the Max, which I do have in the M1. And to be honest, for most people, this will likely still be super fast and way more power than anyone needs, at the same time as making a lot of sense on your wallet too. So after using this essentially MacBook Pro chip base model, the main reason this laptop is serious as an upgrade has to be how brilliant the new M4 chips are. The thing is, we've seen these incremental small upgrades across the MacBooks over the last couple of years, M1, M2, M3, but this new version of the MacBook Pro is now a serious leap from that M1 version below it, although it looks the same, almost. More on that in a bit. And so it's likely not really worth upgrading if you already own an M2 or M3 chip version, and if you're happy with it. And before we go any further talking about upgrades for MacBook Pros, I think the most important thing to say here is anyone considering a MacBook Pro laptop, unless you know the real power use case reason for getting one of these, you probably just don't need it, and you should go for the still unbelievable M3 MacBook Air. It's lighter, better value, and still super powerful, and will eat through, for me, for example, multi-stream 4K editing in video. But more on that in a bit for this. And with this thing, the new M4 Mac Mini, which is tiny and beautiful and probably my favorite release of the year, I've reviewed this on the channel, and I've got to say, if you already have a nice light laptop that you still use, it's still easy to travel with and work with, consider one of these at home to get that M4 and AI capability in a really good value package. If you've got peripherals, it's just a no-brainer. Watch my video link below for more on that if you want. Let's now talk about probably the main reason that a lot of people use one of these, which is video editing. Now, I do have a serious reason for owning a MacBook Pro, and that is the ports and the power for multi-stream 4K editing on the channel, particularly when you're on the go. Now, I did go for the 14-inch, not the 16-inch, and I still stand by that. And when I'm editing on these, I do have quite intense workloads. You've got animations, a bunch of cuts, layers of 4K footage, effects, etc., etc. And often I do it on the road and at my desk, and so a MacBook Pro 14 is perfect for me. It's small to carry, get it on a plane, but also you can shut it down in clamshell mode and put it through a monitor, and it's fantastic when you're back in the studio. So how about that new power? The M4 MacBook Pro is the fastest laptop I've used yet with Final Cut Pro. And what is cool about Final Cut Pro this year has to be the updates added to utilize AI tools such as this lovely new magnetic mask. So let's now take a little comparison between the M1 Max and the M4 Pro chip and see the difference. So I'm going to run this big Apple Intelligence video edit on Final Cut Pro. Now, just first of all, this folder has got 800 gigabytes of stuff because there's a load of ProRes footage in it. The Final Cut Pro, library, the cache, all of that is just in that folder. So there's quite a lot going on. We're going to let this run. It's preparing to share, and we'll see how quick this compares to exactly the same thing on the M1. Now, it is worth saying I am doing both the M1 Max and the M4 Pro chip models on battery. It's on automatic, so it will just manage power based on what it needs to get done. And I'm doing it off a SanDisk and external SSD, but I do everything on these external drives. I see no difference in speed, and I can literally just plug it in and go. And I really think that is worth considering as well when you're looking at a MacBook Pro. Okay, there we go. It's complete. Took 6 minutes 34. That's not bad. There are parts of it with like 6 layers, and let's now try it on the M1 and see the difference. I'm actually really shocked at the difference. This is over 2 minutes longer on the M1 Max chip. Now, I really didn't think there'd be that much of a difference. So just by buying the new M4 base model, we're seeing a massive improvement. It's basically taking a quarter of the time off. So for big videos, you know, that's a lot of time saved, and I think you'll see that performance across lots of areas of the computer. Let's now take a little look at neural engine stuff and see the difference with that. I'm just gonna have a little look at Image Playground. So I'm gonna create a new item, and I'm gonna find, let's have a little look at something that's just like preset suggestions. So let's do something sci-fi. Now what you do with this is you add items in and it builds it gradually. So we're going to press click on those two. That's already ahead. So that you can really see the difference on the M4 compared to the M1 Max. And that clearly is a pretty small task, but I think this probably does take quite a lot of effort. Let's add another element in. Let's make it have fireworks. 2 items, you see it's already there, it's done. This is quite a lot slower. So yeah, if you're gonna be doing things like using the new AI tools in things like Logic or Final Cut Pro, maybe you're using writing tools or the Image Playground, you will notice the difference. Now let's try some writing tools. So I'm actually gonna try the ChatGPT integration. I don't know if this is using the onboard neural engine. I would think this is sending it out, but let's press return. Create me a description of the new M4 MacBook Pro. It may be more about the on-device correction items with this. Still a bit quicker. You're still seeing that come through faster there. Why don't we now have a little go with the changes, and let's ask it to make it more professional at the same time. So I'm going to click those at the same time. That's pretty similar. I don't think there's a big difference in that, so you're not noticing a big difference, although this one is finished now, so this is still processing. Oh, I take it back, that is a lot quicker on the M4. We can see this new laptop chip is outperforming older models now with the significant advantage, particularly around workflows that are using AI and the neural engine. So look, if you are someone who uses LLMs and a lot of machine learning in your workflows, M4 is going to be a noticeable leap for you with that 16-core neural engine, and it's a big tick on the pros list for getting one of these. Now, I have found that the computer doesn't get too hot while editing on this kind of project, and under things like heavy load or multiple tabs being open for different apps at once, it stayed snappy, and I'm pretty happy with the use case. Now, I am not running like big Xcode, Blender, 3D render projects, any of that stuff, but I reckon it's likely going to be pretty similar for you too. But look, if you do have an M1 Max, just let it depreciate and keep using it, I reckon, for one more year, because it's probably not enough. But hang on a minute. Power is not the only thing that makes this worth it. There are a few other lovely updates that you can see here that I've been really enjoying this month on the M4 that you need to know about. Sure, the chassis is virtually identical, and I think it probably is over the last 4 years. So it looks the same, and it's a proven and brilliant design. So I'm not against that at all. But the big update win for the M4 is definitely this, the new nano texture screen. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and it really has impressed me. You can probably see it here, just from the way that my key light is reflecting on the old M1 and this. It's just fundamentally so much better. Now first, the quality of the images feel so much more striking, and once you take it outside, you really notice that lack of reflections getting in the way. The screen brightness is also up a bit, which helps. SDR now I think goes to like 1000 nits, where it used to be around 500 to 600, and this is noticeable. And given that that nano texture screen option is only $150 or £150 over here, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. I think it's a much more realistic option as well than that $1,000 bump we used to get asked for the nano texture on the Apple XDR screen. But who's paying for those now anyway when there's the new studio display? So quantum dot display with nano texture and extra brightness. You can notice this if you have a bright space. Let's talk about durability though with that screen. I've used this And there's no real issue with marking or damage to the screen, which was an issue, I think, on some of the old nano textures. It remains to be seen how long it holds up over time. Anyone who's got that nano textured iPad Pro, let us know in the comments how that's standing up. Now, there are also a couple of other smaller updates to the hardware that are worth mentioning, I think, that make this better. First, we get the latest center stage ultra-wide webcam, which I think really does make a quality difference from the M1. It's a nice addition. Another very pleasing update is that whilst we get the same size battery in the M4 from the M1 and M2 and M3, due to the efficiencies of M4, we do get a longer battery life. And I think that's noticeable and always great to have. And third, these are now equipped with Thunderbolt 5 on the side. Okay, let's be honest. This is more for the future than it is right now, because very few of us have devices that support this, peripherals, and let's be honest, most of us do not own a Thunderbolt 5 cable. But nice to have it, and I think it sets your computer purchase up for the next 4 or 5 years, right? Oh yeah, we now get the MacBook Pro in this lovely space black, and it looks great. And yes, it is a little more annoying with the fingerprints. You do have to clean them up a little bit, but I think it's improved overall from the early versions of this texture and color. I'm not sure what they did, but it doesn't seem to mark as much as the MacBook Air that I tried. And well, that's kind of it. So once we add all these options up, where does it leave us on the upgrade question? Is this worth it for you? Now, I think the combination of the promise of on-device neural engine and AI advancements of the M4 does get me excited to take my editing and workflow into new areas. But at the moment, I'm not sure we have enough obvious uses for it, and I still have no issues with my trusty M1 Max for speed and just haven't questioned it at all over the last 3 years. I would say that Mac and Apple silicone laptops have a solid 4 to 5 year life cycle these days without you really noticing the need to upgrade with the power of Apple silicon, and they don't feel unreasonably slow after that time. But I am nonetheless oh so close to ordering the M4 MacBook Pro. Interestingly though, given the efficiency and power of the base model, I might be tempted to pull back and not worry about the Max chip. For me, the sweet spot of the M4 MacBook Pros right now is that base model. M4 Pro chip with nano texture screen, bring that up, 14-core CPU, 20-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. And that's super powerful enough to already be better than my M1 Max, for the saving of about $700 on what that one cost before. Not bad. But hey, be careful on those Apple upsell ladders. You'll be buying the M4 Max chip fully maxed out before you realise. So let me know where you stand on all this in the comments. Conclusion, it's a brilliant computer, and if you have the M1 MacBook or a MacBook Air and want more power, then this is a great time to upgrade. If you honestly haven't noticed the need, then maybe wait for M5? Just keeps coming, right? Hit my face to subscribe if you haven't, and watch this video next for more great Mac and productivity tech that I think will make the difference. Oh, and it's all about that Mac Mini, isn't it? See you soon.